What is up, Midnight Church? What is up? What is up? What is up? Bum, 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 bum. Hope you're all having a good night. You're excited for tonight? Heck yeah. As you should be. As you should be. Because every night that we get to live and breathe is a good night. Facts. Facts. So, if you've been tuning in for a little while now, the last few weeks, maybe a little over a month now, it's been running quite a bit. We've been doing a little journal series where I am reading out of my personal journal. I've made it abundantly clear every week that we've done this that I am not your daily journaler. I don't journal often. So when I do journal, it usually has a lot of weight and a lot of meaning behind it. Usually means I'm struggling pretty hard with something, or I heard a really good word and something really just stuck with me that I need to put it on paper. So just to be clear, it's kind of a big deal that I'm reading out of my personal journal, which, by the way, before doing this series with TikTok, Midnight Church, and YouTube, I've never read before to anybody. So this is not something I've ever shared. And now I've decided I'm going to share it with the world through social media. So, hey, I hope it helps somebody. That's the whole point. So, today I am reading a word that I titled Whispers. Quick little mini sermon that I titled Whispers. And it really goes over listening and feeling God. And I don't know what your personal journey is right now, what kind of walk in life you're personally in at the moment. But for me, anyways, I right now can wholeheartedly admit that I feel far from God. I know He's there, and I know He's led me to this place I'm at. It's just having the faith that when I don't see Him, hear Him, or feel Him, that He's there. And He is. Again, I don't know what point in life you're at or in your journey, but God is always there, even when you can't hear, feel, or see Him. He didn't bring you somewhere just to leave you there. You know, He brought you there to walk you through. And His silence isn't ignorance, it's a lesson. And it's just all about finding that lesson and understanding why it's there and what purpose it is serving. So this little mini sermon I wrote and journaled is called Whispers, and the first section is just called Listen. Because the very first thing that's involved in a whisper is the listening. And I wrote, I actually started it off pretty heavy. I wrote a question that said, "Are you receiving tangible evidence that God is real and involved in your life?" Tangible evidence. I just talked about how if you're not feeling, seeing, or hearing Him, having the confidence knowing that He's still there and involved in some form or fashion, right? That He's still there for you. And now I'm asking the question, are you receiving tangible evidence? Because whether you think you can't hear Him, or you think you can't see Him, or you think you can't feel Him, tangible evidence is there. And often when you think you can't see, hear, or feel Him, it's because you're not looking in the right place. And the whole reason you're feeling that way is God is trying to get you to turn your head a different direction and find Him again. He's trying to, the whole purpose of what God's trying to do in our life is lead us down this path to this final destination that He has for us. And a lot of people forget that sometimes that involves steering, and God has to steer us in the right direction. And I personally have to struggle with this too. It's not like you're all alone. When you don't see, hear, or feel Him, you just simply sometimes need to do a 360 and figure out, okay, I felt you headed in this way, I heard you headed this way, and then now I don't hear or feel you anymore. Which direction did you go? Don't, it's so easy to get down. And I'll be fully honest with you guys, I've been really down these last few days. But you've got to figure out a way to pick yourself up and just analyze and adjust. That's all life is analyzing and adjusting. Adapt or die is the old saying. Analyze the situation and adjust to the situation. So analyze it. God isn't, you're not hearing from Him in the same way. You're not feeling Him the same way. Okay, so adjust. Figure out which direction He's trying to get you to turn your head to, and head to find Him again, and find that feeling again, find that hearing again. A lot of times we hope and pray that God's voice is audible, right? And it would be life. We always joke about how life would be so easy if God would just speak to us verbally, audibly, so we could hear it. And He say, "Matthew, go this way," and we're like, okay, that would make life a whole lot easier. But that's not how God speaks. God speaks in evidence. He speaks in tangible evidence. How far you've come, where you've come from. That's evidence. You breathing another day, that's evidence. The sun rising and setting, that's evidence. He speaks in evidence. And sometimes you're just looking at the wrong evidence when you're trying to figure out where He's trying to take you and where He's trying to lead you. And then the second point I wrote was feel His presence. If you want to hear God, feel His presence. It is biblical to feel the presence of God. When you're in the presence of God, you know what that feels like for you. It's different for everybody, but you know what that feels like. You probably got that feeling just when I said those words of feeling the presence of God. You had a mind, a memory come up of that feeling. It's not a coincidence that you feel that when you feel that. That's the presence of God, and it is biblical that you feel that, and that is the feeling you should be chasing every single day. Every single day you should be chasing that physical feeling of the presence of God, however you can get it. Reading in the Word, praying, meditation, whatever works for you and for God. Everybody has their own relationship with God, and everybody has their own connection with Him. So that physical feeling is what you should be chasing every day with God. And I know kind of elaborating on that, that a lot of times we get told, facts don't care about your feelings, or, you know, your feelings don't matter, yada, yada, yada. A lot of times in today's world, we suppress feelings really hard, or we try our best to, even if that's just day to day life or actually with medication now. A lot of times we are trained in society to suppress our feelings, and I don't think we get told enough that you need feelings. You need that. Um, Feelings can be communicating with God. Um, I don't think that's something that's spoke about enough. Is your feelings are a communication pathway with God. So suppressing them, I would say, is a bad habit. I know is a bad habit. Feelings aren't meant to be suppressed. God created them for a reason. You need them. That can be your communication table with God. You're not feeling the way you feel on accident or by chance. That gut feeling you get about things, about temptation, those gut feelings you get about people, and people's intentions and things. That in itself is communication with your spirit, with God, with all of it. Don't suppress that. You're not experiencing that just because. There's a reason for it. But where we do mess up is kind of putting everything into our feelings. I'm gonna kind of backtrack here for a minute, but you need your feelings. That is a communication way, a communication path, if you will. But where people mess up is they don't have balance, and they'll put everything into their feelings, right? Because God can tempt your feelings, and the devil can tempt your feelings just as much. The devil can pull at your heartstrings. He can pull at your gut. And a lot of people are either, what I experience is that there's always two different kinds of people. There's that person who says, nobody cares about your feelings, suppress, suppress, suppress. I don't care what I feel, I'm going to do a certain thing. And then there's the other people who will follow your heart with everything you have. Whatever your gut says, do it. Do it, do it, do it, do it. And they're all in on the feelings. And if there's anything I can try to help somebody with today, it's you need to have a balance of the both. God says to protect your heart, and protect your mind, and don't let your feelings run your spirit into a pit, I guess, is a simple way to put it. Don't let your feelings do that to you. Have a balance and be smart. Filter those feelings. Filter those feelings through your mind. That's how God designed it to be. And another point I wrote in here is if you can't see God, are you even looking for Him? A lot of times people will, in times of need, and I find myself doing this too. I'm calling myself out when I say this. We come to God and ask things from God without giving things to God. We want God to provide for us even when we've not been providing or praising Him. So you say you can't see God. I say I can't see God, but when was the last time you opened your Bible and read the Word? I saw this very funny, at least to me it was funny, a very funny meme of there was this kid, and he's shouting up at the sky, up at God, and he's saying, why won't you listen to me? Please talk to me. Please help me. Please talk to me. Why aren't you listening to me? I need this. I need help. Why, God? Listen to me. Speak to me. And out of the clouds is a hand, and he's handing the kid the Bible. And he's like, here. Don't say that I'm not speaking to you. when you're not listening and reading to the Word. That's how God does speak. Um, so I wrote, if you can't see God, are you looking? Truthfully, answer that truthfully. Are you really looking for God, or are you just hoping He answers you when you haven't been answering Him? Next point I wrote, number 3, I said, see Him move. See Him move. And most people want God to move in their life in a comfortable manner. Again, most people want God to move in their life in a comfortable manner. We tend to do these things where we'll put God in a box and we say, God, I need you to fix this. And what God sees is you standing with that box inside of another box that's broken and needs to be fixed. But you only want Him to fix this box, not the bigger box. Because that's what's comfortable to you. You're ready and prepared for Him to do something with this. You're not ready and prepared for Him to do something with all this. And a lot of times when you think God won't move or that you're stuck, it's that God is working on this, but you're not even looking at that. You're looking at this. God fix this thing. Well, God doesn't obey your time, and He doesn't obey your ideas, to put it frankly. He knows what's best for you, and a lot of times what you need to do is be looking around and paying attention to the things that maybe you didn't want Him to pay attention to. You need to be looking at the bigger picture. And a lot of times that other things, when it relates to that, is that God promises trials and suffering. He promises that. He doesn't promise you a life of ease and problem free. I didn't know when I took this new job that God was calling me to, that it was going to lead me to a path of like financial instability, of me looking at having to sell my car, and me looking at having to pick up a second job. But that's trials, that's suffering. God promises that. God doesn't lead you to something to leave you there. He brought you to that for a reason. He brought me to this new job for a reason. I just have to keep believing in that. You have to keep believing in that. And you have to embrace that pain and embrace that suffering that comes with it. God doesn't expect you or promise you a promised land without a tough path to get there. Through that, you have to find God in your sovereignty. You have to find God in God. You have to find God in His presence. You have to find God in that peace. You found God when the whole world around you can crumble and fall apart, and you're still at peace. That's God, and that's what you need to find. Just being honest, like a lot of times where I will struggle personally is finding God in my successes. God led me to a great high-paying job. Praise Him. God led me to where I could buy 3 cars in my last 6 months. Praise Him. I don't think I'm alone in that. I think a lot of people tend to do that, of finding God in their successes, in their high moments, in their top of the mountain moments. But where you truly find God is in your sovereignty, being alone with Him, in finding in your peace. That's where you find God, when you're alone. and the world around you, you just can't figure it out, you know. That's where you find God, and that's where you need to seek Him. Don't don't look for Him in the results, not even the internal results. The outside world results, your successes, also your internal results. That's not where that's not what you should be looking for. What you should be looking for is internal transformation. What I kind of mentioned before, where when you can reach that point in your internal transformation where nothing's working for you, nothing. The job's not working out, the money's not there, the family is struggling, the relationship is struggling, whatever it is for you, whatever it is. When you can reach a point where that is all occurring at one time, but yet you are at peace, you are sovereign with God, and you're not worried, that's what you should be looking for. That's what you should be seeking and chasing, is that kind of internal transformation. The last point I'll go over is number 4, where I said learn how He speaks. We've kind of talked about how He speaks the whole time, and how to listen, and feeling His presence, and how to see Him move. The last point is learn how God speaks. What most people make the mistake of is having the noise of life turned up louder than His voice. Because if there's anything you need to understand, it's like God does not speak loudly. He speaks softly. He speaks in a whisper. He speaks in evidence, like we said earlier, but He speaks quietly. God is a sovereign, methodical, easy speaking Lord. He speaks quietly. And He does that intentionally in a manner to where you must be listening to hear Him. He's not going to speak over everything in life that you prioritized over Him just because you've done that. If you prioritize something over Him, He's not going to speak over that. He's not going to speak louder than that. That's a choice you made. That's part of the free will that He grants us. He speaks softly so that you have to force yourself to be listening for His voice to hear. Sometimes, and this is a lesson I'm still trying to learn, because my mind just doesn't turn off. You've got to learn how to tell yourself to shut up. Just to put it blankly, you've got to learn how to tell your mind to just shut up. I tend to do that. I found myself doing that today, of just trying to troubleshoot of what I can do about my day, what I can do about my job, what I can do about my finances, how can I make this better, how can I do this. And I found myself just telling myself to shut up. There's nothing you can do about it. Shut up. Get in the Word. Get into prayer. And trust God with it. Sometimes you just got to tell yourself to shut up. And listen to Him. The last question, I ended my little sermon with a question, and this is something that I think can pull at a lot of different people's heartstrings, mine especially right now, but somebody else's out there as well. Is, why would God ever speak new revelations into you when you aren't soaking in the ones He already gave you in His Word? I'll just repeat that. Why would God speak new revelations into you when you aren't soaking in the ones He's already gave you in His Word? God already gave you a direction. God already gave you a purpose. God already, for the most of you, have given you a step to take. Why would he speak anything new into you when you aren't soaking in the words he's already given you? That's something you should ask yourself every single day. You know, don't get mad at God for not saying anything new, giving you a new direction, giving you a new step, giving you a new word when you haven't even accepted the message of yesterday that he gave you. I've got to figure this out myself. I mean, I'm not trying to call anybody out. I've got to call myself out on that too. You know, I've got a new job, a new industry, a new everything I've got to figure out. And this last week, I've been super stressed out, aggravated, pissed off, upset, all the above with that. And I've got to do that too. You know, why do I expect God to step in and speak something new into me, like a new direction, when he already gave me this one and I haven't soaked it in, accepted it, and figured it out yet? Why would God speak any new revelations into you when you aren't even soaking in the ones he's already given you? That's the question you need to go find the answer to. I love you guys. Thank you for listening to me. I hope that helps somebody out there. Hopefully. Just one. That's all that matters. If y'all have any sort of questions or just want to speak to me or somebody about the word or a little bit more about what I spoke on tonight, or just need a friend, message me on Instagram or something and I will get to you. If I don't answer you too soon, I apologize. I've been fasting social media, so I got a little longer of doing that, so go ahead and send me a message if you want, and just know that, you know, it might be a little while before I get to you, but that's not that I'm ignoring you. I'm not. And join the Discord. I'm still active on the Discord, so join the Discord, and we've got a small group of very committed individuals there that would love to be a friend of yours and help you out as well. So, love you guys. Y'all sleep well. Have a good night.